Oh, gosh. Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of 410 Sports Talk. I am James Haskell, along with my co-host Glenn Martin, and we're here on a joyful Monday evening. Joyful because it's Monday, and we're healthy, and we're alive, and we live in this beautiful country, and we have great families. Not because Lamar Jackson has signed an extension with the Ravens. Certainly not that. That's what we're really here to talk about. Glenn, how you doing, my man?
Oh man, I tell you what, I'm probably doing a little bit better than John Harbaugh was earlier today when he was blindsided, and I'm sure he looked around and went, "Wow, these are a lot of reporters all of a sudden around me," as he was informed that Lamar Jackson tweeted a 3-part tweet basically explaining that as of March 2nd, he let the organization know his plans are to move on and be traded. He's requested a trade. As you can see, shout out to DK for putting it up on the screen here. So I'll quickly just read the tweet from Lamar Jackson, and then we'll get
testing
into
your eyes here, Glenn. Testing your eyes.
Absolutely.
DK, you might have to zoom in a little bit.
Well, I got it bigger on my screen here, so I should be okay. But shout out to Carol, by the way, in the text. Appreciate you jumping in here. I miss me some Carol. She's awesome. But all right, let's get into the tweet. So Lamar Jackson says, "A letter to my fans. I want to first thank you all for the love and support you consistently show towards me. All of you are amazing, and I appreciate you all so much. I want you to know not to believe everything you read about me. Let me personally answer your questions." Then he goes on to say, "In regards to my future plans, as of March 2nd, I requested a trade from the Ravens organization, for which the Ravens has not been able or been interested in meeting my value. Any and everyone that has met me or been around me know I love the game of football, and my dream is to help a team win a Super Bowl. You are all great, but I had to make a business decision that was best for my family and I. No matter how far I go or where my career takes me, I'll continue to be close to my fans of Baltimore Flock Nation and the entire state of Maryland. You'll see me again." So, Jimbo, when you saw this tweet, were you surprised? Were you not surprised? And then what was your ultimate reaction before I jump in here?
Yeah, you know what? I was a bit surprised. I was a bit taken back. Part of it was because of the timing. I mean, I guess in fairness to Lamar, I don't know if he knew that it was just going to be John at the table. Maybe he also thought it was going to be Eric at the table, but either way,
or he didn't know at all.
Glenn.
Too coincidental?
Stop it. Don't you
Too coincidental, the timing?
Of course he knew. Of course.
Well, John said he's not sure he knew.
He knew.
Yeah.
John also said 200% sure Lamar Jackson's coming back. And he also said that he's acting under all assumptions that Lamar will be his quarterback this year with contingencies.
It may be.
Like John
he still might be.
You're not wrong.
It's not looking good, but he still might be.
Ultimately, I think that, we got a lot to get into, but I was surprised. Yes, to answer your question, my hair was blown back. I was surprised. I was shocked. All the above. Not surprised that he might want to trade. I was surprised kind of how it went down. I thought maybe it was going to be in this reveal video, which, I don't know. Maybe he's still on iMovie trying to edit it or something. I don't know. But maybe there wasn't enough space on his iPhone or something. Whatever he took whatever he recorded it with. But nonetheless, I was super surprised. Were you not?
I was surprised that it took such a public turn. After him not like kind of, it's weird. Like he'll send out those cryptic tweets about him halfway dispelling other people's tweets, but not really clarifying it to the point where, anybody actually knew what he was saying other than he disagreed with the tweet. I was surprised that it became so public, but I guess I shouldn't be. So
because he doesn't have an agent, right? There's no middle ground. It's either this scorched earth or you hear nothing.
Well, I think, and I'm going to read Sean's chat here. He says, "Well, guys, I think I've lost respect for Lamar. I was on the ledge, but he pushed me off. He was offered a fair deal. Oh, well, we lost the old Lamar." And, I'll say this. I think what happened was Lamar Jackson and the Ravens couldn't come to an agreement. And so like we mentioned here many times, the Ravens allowed Lamar Jackson to go see if any team would be willing to pay him what he deems as his value, as he said in the tweet. Because again, this is his value. This isn't the league setting that value. This is his value up here. This isn't the value he's gained from, asking teams about what the market is for him. This is just his value.
So the value of the entire gym.
This is his value. Okay. So he didn't get what he wanted from the Ravens. So the Ravens allowed him to go out there. Now we've been weeks into this. He's gotten 0 calls. He's gotten 0 offer sheets. He's gotten nothing. So this is, I think, his next step in the negotiating process. Mm-hmm. So first it was Ken Francis, his business partner, if you want to call it, the guy who ran that mobile gym, which was essentially a mat with dumbbells on wheels. He was first tasked to reach out and inform teams that, look, Lamar isn't interested in you guys negotiating a deal between him and the Ravens. He is serious. He's willing to move on. Quickly, the memo came out saying, look, you guys can't talk to that guy because he's not an accredited agent. You have to only talk to Lamar, or if Lamar hires an accredited agent, then you can then talk to him. But that's it.
He's potentially a con man. We don't even know. His first prototype was suitcase wheels.
Basically. So now no calls have still come. And in fact, that email probably made it look less likely that calls would come. So this is Lamar's next negotiating tactic, is he says, look, guys, I'm out of here. I don't want to be here. Not only am I willing to negotiate with you guys, and this isn't all about us trying to just really have you negotiate a deal between me and the Ravens. I don't even want to be here anymore. So for one, I'm not so sure that he actually doesn't want to be here, because I think his ultimate goal is to get the best deal. And I still think the best deal is in Baltimore. So I'm not so sure if he really wants to leave. But to Sean Pisker's point, I don't disagree with the fact that, and I'm going to put it back up, that we've lost the old Lamar.
Yeah, you know what this is, Glenn? I'll tell you what, I last week watched all of the Rockies in preparation for my race, which ultimately didn't happen, but I know that's okay. There'll be another one.
There you go.
All that being said, dude, this is Rocky 3. Remember, he's got the nice hair. He's got the statue. He's got all this stuff. And then Clubber Lang shows up and he's like, hey, woman. And he walks up there when he's doing the presentation and everything. And he trains alone. He was made for this. And what does Mick say? Rock, you got civilized. You got civilized, Rock. That's the problem, man. That's why this guy's going to kill you. And this is exactly what was happening. Like, I feel like Lamar has become so consumed with everything that has nothing to do with what's gotten him to where he is today.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? Like, okay, dude, if you just stay focused on your process and your craft, like all the other things just work themselves out, right? Ultimately, that's just how it happens. Draymond Green said it. We've quoted on this show. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Glenn, he said it on the same episode of The Shop that Lamar was on. I think, if I'm not mistaken, but he said, look, a couple of $1 million, it's not going to change my neighborhood at this point. Like, you know, it depends on, it all comes down to priorities, right? And so, I don't know, man, this is a real tough one for me to echo Sean's, and I'll get to Nick's here. The old Lamar is gone. The kid that was out there just dogging it, you know, playing hard for the team, enjoying himself, having a good time, was all smiles. That kid's gone, you know, and who knows if he comes back. But Nick says making your trade request public 2 weeks into free agency tells you that he isn't getting the offer he wants. 100% agree with that. Rapport said they were negotiating just last week post-trade request. Reminds me of Debo. Yeah, I heard some other people on the radio also say it reminded him of Debo Samuel.
Because Debo made it sound like there was no chance he was going back.
Right, he's going back.
And then a quick about face happened, and now he's back. And this could be... And that's probably the hope that all people are facing, that they want to see that this is just a next negotiating, ploy. Because I want to put it. Excuse me. I want to put up the video here that Nick is referencing here when he says that Rappaport talked about the fact that even after this apparent trade request on March 2nd, that the teams were negotiating, you know, as recently as last week. So, look, what I don't want to do here, Jimbo, is say something I'm going to regret in a week. No, what I'm saying is I'm not going to let the emotions, because look, when I first heard it, the emotions ran wild. Okay. I'm an emotional guy. I'm emotionally invested in this team. It's my favorite team. So I'm emotionally into it. I can't help it. It just is what it is. And I thought certain things, but what I don't want to do is get caught up in the moment to the point where I say something that I'm going to regret in a week when he's, when he ultimately, or in 2 weeks or a month, when he ends up being back here, because like Nick said, this is just simply negotiation. Because I want to put this up now so we can all look at it together and just listen to what Rappaport has to say about the continued negotiations.
Well, first of all, John Harbaugh hit it right on the head. This is about money. It is about business. It's not about a soured relationship between a player and a team. It's just about finding his right value. And the reason I know that, the reason I believe that, sources have told me over the course of the last week, while the trade request was already in and has been in for several weeks from Lamar Jackson to the Baltimore Ravens, those two sides have been negotiating a potential deal. Obviously, they are not anywhere yet, but the fact that Lamar Jackson has been engaged with the team does show you it appears that this is more about money than it is about feelings. But obviously, they are not there yet, and Lamar Jackson has the ability to talk to teams, has the ability to negotiate a deal, has the ability to get an offer sheet from someone. And General Manager Chris Ballard from the Colts has said they are among the teams that at least investigated it and looked into it. No offer yet, no deal yet. So until that happens, the options for Lamar Jackson seem pretty clear. It is don't sign, stay away and let it play out, or sign and show up. Until there is an answer, then we're going to be faced with more situations like John Harbaugh had earlier today, where he sits down at the table, the trade request gets public, and he is faced with endless questions once again about Lamar Jackson. Well,
okay. So it doesn't seem like it's necessarily the end of any possibility of him returning. Now, I'll say that this tweet lessens the likelihood of him returning, but I don't think it means it's out of the realm of possibility. What do you think do you think this is a salvageable relationship because look, it looks like, okay, before I even kick that to you, let me just say this. Is it okay to now say, can we stop with the tweets and the posts about this being Lamar Jackson upset he doesn't have weapons? He wants money. He doesn't give a damn what is around him. If he has his money, that is all that matters. He is about his money right now, and that is it. He's a mercenary at this point.
Yeah, he's absolutely he's a bullet shot out of a gun, right? Like that's what he's deployed for. Yeah, he's absolutely a mercenary. So 100%. I mean, I think that's fair to say.
And is there a chance that he could still come back here, or do you think at this point he'd be willing to even play for less elsewhere, or do you think it's all about the money, highest bidder, that's it?
I think it is all about the money, highest bidder, but we'll act on the assumption, and Sean, we'll get to your comment real quick, but we'll act on the assumption that he's willing to play less. How does that, play for less? How does that play out? Because so what that means basically is that the Ravens, if he's willing to play somewhere for less, they would have to acquiesce to his request. Because that would mean, if I understand this correctly, that he would have to sign his offer sheet, because right now he plays for no one. Right, he's under contract with no one. The only team that has his rights is the Ravens. He would have to sign the unrestricted, or excuse me, what is it again? See, I'm losing my mind here. The non-exclusive franchise tag.
Yep.
He would have to sign that, and then the team would have to put in an offer to the Ravens, knowing that they're not gonna just match, and it would be less than the deal that they offered him. That sounds like an idiotic thing for the Ravens to do.
No, that won't be what happens.
Unless they just want to say, you know what? Look, if you don't want to be here, that's fine. Because they've acquiesced to a number 2 tight end, a right tackle, a number 4 wide receiver who's always injured. I mean, like the list goes on. I'm trying to think. There's another guy. Who am I missing?
Well, Hayden Hurst, Orlando Brown,
Marquise Brown.
That's the list.
And then obviously now Lamar Jackson. So that to me, it seems like that is what the difference will be as far as him being moved.
Well, here's the thing. If the Ravens ultimately do acquiesce to his request and they trade him, the way they would do it is this. They would say, okay, you come in, sign this franchise tag right now. That allows us to then trade with anyone and get any package we want in return. There is no chance they're going to let this guy leave for 2 first-round picks because they already know they have the best offer. So there's no chance they're not going to match. So no team is going to put in an offer. And because they talked about, the Colts, the Colts guy, Chris Ballard saying he's going to do his due diligence and they're going to check things out and, this and that. I think this tweet by ESPN reporter Stephen Holder, says it perfectly. He's at, Stephen Holder's at the owner meetings right now. And so I just want to throw this tweet up because, I think all that matters is the Ravens know that they have the best offer. That's just the bottom line. Like, they know that there's no other team that wants to give them this. So this value that Lamar has deemed on his own, because this isn't the league setting this value. This is Lamar saying this is what I'm worth, and that's it. Look at the tweet here from Stephen Holder, who's an ESPN reporter, says, regardless of what the Colts or anyone else might love about Lamar Jackson, the very clear stance from the people here at the owners' meetings I've talked to is that whatever contract demands he is currently making are an absolute non-starter. No one is giving him the money he wants. No one thinks he's worth this but him. And it's not even so him. It's because the Pandora's box that would open up.
Yeah,
gave him what he wants.
It's not that he's not worth it. It's that
it's true.
You know what I mean? It's that
this is not always guaranteed that no one else would get it other than him. They might give it to him, but everyone's going to get it if they give it to him.
Right. If you give it to one, you got to get it to all. It's just like being a parent, right? You can't buy one kid a Corvette. I guess you could.
It'd be pretty rude to the other kids.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But, you got to, if you do for one, you got to do for all, right?
So it's not like, that's what I keep, like, people are still saying the Ravens organization is this. Like, I saw Sean McCoy saying how disappointed he is in the Ravens. What do they want the Ravens to do? Just give a blank check to the guy? Like, don't you think they have to make business decisions? This is ridiculous. Right. You don't think they're showing the love by the offers that they've made him to give him the second most guarantees in history behind only the outlier Deshaun Watson deal? That's not showing the guy love?
Right. No, and to back you up, I kind of want to transition to Sean's point here because it's exactly what you're saying. So, if he wanted to be here, just like Sean said, he would be here. Why do you think we never heard this drama from Mahomes, Allen, etc.? And I think a lot of that has to do with
they have an agent.
They have an agent, and they've deemed it a partnership. This is a partnership. This is a two-way street, right? Like, this is about being with an organization, getting paid for your services to what you deem to be fairly, and allowing yourself to play competitively. In order to do all of that, you have to have an understanding of how this system works, right? And trying to buck the entire system is a difficult thing to do, to say the very least, right? Like, things change slowly, not at the pace Lamar Jackson is looking for things to change. It's just really that simple. It's a tough scenario. And I got to ask you this. Let's take the stance or let's look at the viewpoint. A lot of people blame this on the Ravens, right? They didn't offer him enough money, give him the guaranteed money, open the pocketbook, sign the check, whatever. Is there any blame or any egg on Bisciotti's face today? Because a lot of people say there is. They say he's been too silent about it. They say he hasn't been opinionated enough about it. They say he shouldn't open his mouth last year and said, Lamar doesn't think he deserves my money. Like he said last year when he was at the same very, exact event. There's a lot of people, there's a lot of fire coming down on Steve Bisciotti. One, for not saying enough. Two, which he's an owner. Like, what do you want, Jerry Jones? I mean, come on. That's my point. But number two, there's some people that said he kind of put his foot in his mouth, and since then it's been a problem. So what's your take on Steve Bisciotti? Because obviously this is an ownership type decision. This is not like, Eric handles that. You know what I mean? It's past Eric on this one. You need a approval from the higher ups on that one.
Yeah, I think Steve Bisciotti, look, it's not like a requirement for owners to do press conferences. I thought it was cool when he would do a yearly State of the Ravens address with him and Eric and all of them. I thought it was cool, but I'm more in favor of a silent owner than a outspoken owner. Like, do you want Jerry Jones with his post-game press conferences and his weekly radio show as your owner? Right. I certainly don't think that's a good idea, and I doubt any coach wants to play under that, knowing that you could very publicly be criticized by your boss as soon as the game is over when emotions are still running high. So I don't necessarily need the owner of the team to talk. I thought it was cool when he did. I would like to see him still talk, but I get why he may not want to, because it may not be for the best interest. Like, he might say things that he says out of emotion that he doesn't want, that he necessarily, he might regret saying. So I understand why he's become more and more quiet. But the one thing he did say is he's not going to do a guaranteed deal.
Yeah.
He said that deal was an outlier. And if you look at the response from the other 32 owners or the other 31 owners, they agree with him, because no one's gotten it since, and no one's signing up to give it to Lamar now. So I think that what he said, he's stayed true to what he said, that's not a contract that they look at as the precedent. It's an outlier, and he's not going to give a guaranteed deal. No Muck You says, it kills me how we forget how the negotiations weren't taken care of prior to the Watson contract. Yesterday's price ain't today's price. And the Ravens front office is learning and feeling this lesson. Why is it that everyone keeps saying it was the Ravens' decision not to sign him after the first 3 years and not Lamar's? Lamar did not want to sign.
Right.
Why do people keep blaming this on the Ravens? He didn't want to sign because he knew every deal after his would only drive his price up. I don't understand why people keep hanging this on and the blame on the Ravens. You don't think the Ravens wanted to sign him after year 3?
No, they're too stupid to do that, Glenn.
Like, he didn't want to sign because he knew his value would go up every time a quarterback signed. Now, what nobody expected is that one quarterback would jump up $140 million more guaranteed than the next guy has ever gotten in history. And it's still a massive gap to where he is, even though we've seen Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray, you name it, Josh Allen. We've seen countless deals come after Deshaun Watson. None of them have even come close. None of them. And if he was willing to take a deal that is right in line with all the other guys other than Deshaun Watson, he'd already have a deal. So let's stop acting like it's the Ravens who didn't want to negotiate with their MVP after 3 years. They did. Lamar did not want to sign a deal. So stop blaming the Ravens for this. This is just not true. It's just false.
Yeah. What else we got, DK? Are we caught up on these? I feel like we got another one on here. Okay, it's just Quan says, Bolden extremely risky, but would you release him and promise whatever is the best contract Lamar receive, EDC will match? If he's a free agent, teams won't feel like they're doing the Ravens' work.
Oh, no, that's too risky.
Yeah.
Then teams aren't looking to do the Ravens any favors.
Yeah, no.
They want to see the Ravens fail, because that means their path is easier. So that's too risky, Quan. It's way too risky.
It's not even risky. It's just, no offense, Quan. I don't think it's smart. I don't think it's a smart thing to do. You take your most valuable asset, right? If you're looking at the team, this is your most valuable asset, and you say, here you go, world, like, for nothing, right? You don't give that up for nothing. I've said it before, oh my gosh. Who said this? The former owner of the Lakers. What is it? 5 nickels doesn't always equal a quarter, right? Like, you don't just you get piecemeal for him, right? Like, you got to make sure you get the right deal if they're trading him, it's not for 2-1. It's not any of that. You got more than 2 1s for Khalil Mack. They gave up more. The Niners gave up 3 1s to get a guy, Trey Lance, who'd never thrown a ball higher than Division II. There's no way they're getting just 2 1s. Watson also got 3 1s, right?
Yeah, you get more than 2 1s for a talented position player and other than a quarterback.
Yes, right. So DK, verify this really quickly, because the way I understand it, so say the Ravens want to make a trade, right? If they want to make a trade, then what would happen is, once again, he signs his sheet with the Ravens, and then they're able to, under that tag, they're able to negotiate any terms of a trade they want, instead of doing the 2 1s for the restricted free agent, because then the Ravens can just say, look, if you want to trade, let's talk a trade. But if you're going to do that, we're just going to match you.
Yeah. Point blank. Yeah. There's no way. They already know they have the best deal. So they know there's no deal that's coming in that they're not going to match, because it would only be a worse deal than they've already offered them. So yeah, sure, we'll match that deal that's worse than the one we already offered you. No, What they're going to do is they're going to have him sign the franchise tag, so they can trade him for whatever package they want, or though this is just part of the plan, and this is just another step in the negotiation process. This is expected. What are the chances that Eric DeCosta already expected this tweet coming and he knew this was part of the negotiation? Any chance?
I think maybe he knew that something like this had to happen, right? Like, yeah, this isn't his first rodeo. He'd probably think, all right, what are his next moves? What are the things that he can do to push the envelope, right? So, because look, there's other people that believe that if Lamar actually wants out, or actually, if he really wants out, and this isn't a negotiating tactic, he can't go half. There's no half measures. He's going to need to do more than this, right? Like, this is just the beginning of the shots fired. And
he's got that interview set up where he interviews himself.
Yeah. Still working on uploading that on YouTube Studio or something. It was supposed to come out last week, right?
So ridiculous, dude. I'm so fed up.
Yeah, Marcus Orr says, burn it down and start over. We can't cripple our team to appease one player. We won before Lamar. We'll win afterwards. Sad, but we can't be the Baltimore Lamar Jacksons and win football games. So, like, this is the thing that I always come back to, is that the Ravens were here before Lamar, and the Ravens will be here after Lamar. Like, that's just the way that it goes.
Same with Ray Lewis. Look,
right?
They're still playing, right? Ray's been gone. They're still playing.
Yeah. Well, and like, so ultimately, I think that the way that I look at this is that who do you like? I've said this before on the show. The Ravens have experience with signing first ballot Hall of Fame talent players to deals worthy of them staying here. They got 4 deals done with Ray. They got 3 deals done with Ed. They got 3 deals done with Suggs. They got 3 deals done with Joe Flacco's not first ballot Hall of Fame, but he was a quarterback, right? And he was our franchise quarterback. They got, I think they were, they traded Haloti in the 3rd deal, if I'm not mistaken. So look, we got a lot, and Marshall, we got 4 deals done. Yeah. He's a Hall of Famer. I'm trying to think of some other names. I'm sure that
Mark Andrews is still here on his 2nd deal. He's going to get a monster deal, I'm sure. I mean, he's not going anywhere. Look at
and you can go way back. Right, you go way back. You could think of McAllister. You could think of the big guys up front.
Ask Roquan how the negotiation process went for him. I mean, it's just when first of all, Lamar Jackson said, I'm not negotiating midseason. Every major deal over the last 3 years for the Baltimore Ravens has been negotiated midseason. All of them, outside of Marcus Williams being brought in as a free agent. All of our current player negotiation extensions have all been done midseason. Andrews, Stanley, Marlon Humphrey, all of them midseason. Well, he doesn't even want to talk midseason. Doesn't even want to talk. And negotiation is give and take. Each party should leave that thinking, man, I gave up more than I wanted to. Both parties. You can't have one going, here's where I'm at, and the other's got, well, I'm down here. Okay, well, we'll come up here. Well, I'm still up here. And the other team go, well, we'll come up here. Now I'm still up here. Oh, all right, we'll go up to here. And I'm still here. There's none of this. There's no negotiation. There's demands on one side, negotiating on the other. And that just, that's got to be aggravating it's got to be unbelievably frustrating. And I can't imagine another GM around the league is sitting there going, man, I wish I was in Eric DeCosta's shoes right now. That looks fun. That looks, you know what, as an owner, I really want to be in Steve Bisciotti's shoes right now and have to deal with this on ESPN. That looks entertaining. That looks fun. Hell no. There's nobody signing up to be in this. No one.
Right. Yeah. What do you think that the other owners are saying to Bisciotti right now? Like, bro, hang in. Like, you'll be all right. You'll get through it. Like, this too shall pass. My dad always says that to me when I'm going through a tough time. He's like, son, this too shall pass. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, and that could be just patience. Don't react like we are emotionally. We're fans. So, yeah, if you come on here and you go, man, this guy's fired up. Yeah, we're fired up because we're emotionally connected to it. And I hope that Eric DeCosta was prepared for this and is remaining calm during this. Because, look, at the end of the day, I still want Lamar to be my quarterback. Damn it.
And it doesn't change much. It changes a little bit, right? It does change that, like, he's trying to attract other suitors, right? But he's trying to attract other suitors. It doesn't mean that he doesn't want to play here, right? This could just be a tactic because ultimately it's about the money. It's not really about where he plays. Because if it was about where he plays, then
I hope it's about the money because I still think we're going to give him the most money.
Right.
So let's hope it is about the money, which I think it is. Travis says,
100%.
Didn't the Colts start clearing money around the time Lamar asked for a trade? Is this a draft trade being hushed? Well, look, I think that a team, if there's any team that's out there, I wouldn't put it past the Colts to screw the city of Baltimore. But I will say any team looking to make that investment, it's a risk in that, it's all that money and investment plus the draft capital plus the fact that you have to recognize the injury history over the last 2 seasons. And if you're a Colts team who was spoiled for all those years going from Peyton Manning to Andrew Luck, since Andrew Luck has retired, they have been the opposite of spoiled. They have been just trying to trade and get anybody who's used to be good and dust them off and set them up right in their pocket, and watching him be absolutely folded in half and have no success. So they've been, I guarantee they got some shell shock over the last few years. And man, this is an awfully big risk to go in and get back in the ring. Not to say they won't do it. They could, but I'd still be surprised to hear that they're even going to come close to an offer that the Ravens won't match. And that's where I can't get past.
Yeah, no. I mean, I'm with you 100%. Let's see. I'm Sleep says, so if he's not going to give him the contract, why not just trade him? Why allow this to spill over in season? He's not going to play. So
because he's good.
Right. So my thing is that it could be it could be some medicine, like some humble pie for Lamar. But ultimately, like you said, Glenn, he could learn through experience that this is the best money for him. And he might feel like it sucks that the system is set up this way, that he can't just go out and hit the market, right? But this is the league that you signed up for. You can do other things. Who he should be mad with? He should be mad with NFLPA. Because the PA is the one that agreed to all this for what, like 10 years or something ridiculous?
Yep.
Like if
they weren't the players, worst, they voted on it.
Yeah, if they weren't the worst bargainers in union history, maybe things would look a little more like the NBA, which is kind of sounds like what Lamar wants. Where if you just say, I request a trade, you're gone in 24 hours to the team of your choosing. Right? Like it's just
and if you want to take the night off because you don't feel that you should play on back-to-backs, you could just do it. And there's nothing the team can do about it.
Right. 100%.
So despite the fact that the fans are disappointed, this, that, and the other. And also, actually, what was that? I wanted to say something on that last one.
I'm Sleep?
Yeah, I got
it right here.
Okay, cool. Okay, so the reason you say why not just trade him? Why not? Because
you'd rather have him.
They want the player. They don't want him to leave because they know how hard it is to find a quarterback. They just can't get it through to him that his value is not what he thinks his value is. And no one is going to give him that. They're not just going to negotiate against themselves and go, well, no one else is going to do it, but we're going to give you a higher offer than we gave you before because for what? Why would you? That'd be bad business. That'd be nonsensical to negotiate against only yourself. That makes no sense. So that's why they're hoping that he would come to a realization that the best offer is right here in Baltimore and to stay here. I mean, plus not only that, but why else not trade him? Guys don't like to look bad. Like if you draft a guy, invest all that time into him, all that coaching, all that, you build the whole around him, you do all this, and now you're just going to let him go? Like you were right about this guy when every other team didn't want to make him a quarterback and every other team didn't want to make him a first-round draft pick. You did, and you were right. He was an MVP. You don't want to just let this guy go. Like, I don't care what you're getting in return, man. You don't want this guy to go. You want to be right, and they were. So there's a lot of reasons why you don't want him gone.
Yeah, 100%. What else we got here? I know we got some. JL says he wants his price, and he doesn't care who gives it. This is a last-ditch effort to get that. Can't blame him for trying. Can't blame BR, the Baltimore Ravens, for not caving. Yeah. Ultimately, that's what it is. I'll tell you what. I just hate the drama, dude. Like, does anyone else miss the days of having a boring quarterback who did nothing but play football, go home to his kids and go to McDonald's and take the free bus to the airport when he goes on vacation. Like, who signs the biggest contract in NFL history, gets a 15-piece nugget, and takes the free bus to the BWI airport? Like, what?
It's quite rare.
You know, so I'm being a bit facetious. Obviously, Joe Flacco wasn't the most talented quarterback out there, but, you know, some days you're like, dang, I miss the boring days where there was no news about our quarterback. You know?
Yeah, the good old days. Well, for a while, the only good news we would hear the only news we would hear about Lamar was all positive. I mean, this guy was amazing in the community. He was doing things that I never saw a star quarterback do, like play pickup ball with fans, with kids. I mean, we praise Lamar about being the humblest of superstars and a guy who wants to win. But man, show me the money. That's the new slogan. It's all about the money. And people, and I don't understand. Like, I just can't understand how people could blame the Ravens for that. I can't comprehend. It's all about logic to me. I can't understand the logic behind the Ravens are at fault here when they're giving him an extreme, to call it a fair offer is an understatement. This is a fantastic offer. And just because it's not higher than the one outlier, he's deeming it as unacceptable. And it's just,
I don't get it. Let's see. Colin, y'all doing God work dealing with these takes. Yeah, man, it gets tough. I'm getting blasted on Twitter anyway for taking cheap shots, apparently. But look, sometimes you just got to have fun with it. It's better to laugh than cry, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, we all love the fact that, I mean, we all want Lamar Jackson to be the quarterback here. But if he doesn't want to be here,
the door's right there.
Yeah, I mean, Laura says, the thing that bugs me the most at the time is the media is trying to destroy the Ravens, acting like the Ravens did not offer him a good deal.
Right.
I just don't believe that. Yeah, and it's mainly the ex-players that are doing that, which I understand.
I wonder why.
Exactly, because all the ex-players just want more money for every player. So it's like when RG3's going, every ex-player and all players should be rooting for Lamar. Yeah, they should, because it's going to be more money for future players. But as far as why the fans are so, aggressive in going, the Ravens should just give him a blank check. Why? I don't understand that. Why would you want your team to, unless you're just a Lamar fan and you don't give a damn about the Ravens or their success?
Right. And if you're a Lamar fan, give him all his money, and then you're going to see a less impactful Lamar Jackson, because who's going to block, who's going to catch, who's going to play defense for him. This is a team game, ladies and gentlemen. I said it before when Glenn and I were talking about it this morning or this afternoon, but Lamar Jackson hasn't been on an NFL team. Say what you want about the systems he's played for. Say what you want about his wide receivers. You can't say much about his tight ends. But he's never been on a team that does not have an elite, if not historic, rushing attack and a top-tier defense, period. Like, those two things are extremely valuable in the NFL. Sure, he doesn't have DeAndre Hopkins. Sure, he doesn't have – name any other wide receiver.
He don't care about that, though.
Right.
He wants money. I could be his receiver. DK could be a tailback, and you could be the slot guy. And as long as they give him 231, he don't give a damn.
He's going to go on that microphone like, yeah, Glenn, DK, and James, those are my boys. We're right.
They work hard. You should see the plays they make in practice. Like, he'd be hyping them up like he does. That's, which we like. You should hype your guys up.
Yeah.
But bottom line is, it don't matter weapons. None of that matters. He wants money. Money. Yep. That is it. JL says he's using very clearly using Debo's strategy, and that could be the case. But I know this, Jimmy. We're friends with a very, very passionate Niner fan, and I can I can tell you, with living the moment with this person, when Debo was saying that stuff on Twitter, saying how nope, I'm not going back. That Niner fan was going, good riddance. Yeah. We don't want you. And guess what? A week later, when he was back, he was going, thank goodness he's back, So that's just how fans are, I'm emotional. And if I hear that he's back with the Ravens and signs long-term, I'll be like, Lamar, you're the man.
Yeah, for sure. Look, ultimately, I feel like there's two things that heal all in professional life And that includes sports as a profession, winning and money, right? Like it heals all. It just does, right? Like if you're underpaid, but you're winning, like you're generally happy. If you're losing, but you got money, well, you know what I mean? There's less to talk about because you're getting paid. So not saying that anyway, I think that money would heal all of the bad feelings going around right now. Chris White says the cap is estimated to jump close to $300 million by 2026. It's not the total cap. It's the percentage of guaranteed money in the deal. That's my belief. It's not the cap because the Ravens could get creative and all these things. I don't believe that it's the cap hit per se. I think it has more to do with the precedent and the message that it sends to the rest of the league and the rest of the team and how it changes things. Let's see.
And also that cap thing. It's like, don't people understand that? Like, oh, well, the cap's going to go up. So look, we can fit Lamar. Well, guess what? When that cap goes up, guess what the positional value and guess what the running backs are going to want? They're going to want more. Guess what the wide receivers? They're going to want more. Tight end. You name a position. When they see the cap go up, they're going, oh, that's more money for me.
Yep.
So everybody acts like, oh, well, there's $300 million, so we can just give it to Lamar. Oh yeah, because the tight ends aren't going to want more money. The corners aren't. Linebackers, you name it.
Oh, those wide receivers, they don't want any more money.
Yeah, right? They're not. It's like, okay, the cap's going up. That means everyone wants a raise.
Yeah, crazy.
Oh, it drives me crazy. Nick says, if he truly wanted out since March 2nd, where's he going to go? There's no reported money offer for him out there, let alone higher than the Ravens. Exactly. That's the part. That's the thing that makes this like reek desperation is that he's not getting any offers out there. The feeling from the owners' meetings is that his request is a non-starter, as reported by ESPN reporter.
Yep.
So where is this money coming? Like, is the XFL just going to let him have ownership and just bring him over there? Like, there's nowhere for him to go other than back home or take less and go somewhere else just out of pride.
100%. Then that's why you pay him now.
Not sure what that means. The Ravens are trying to pay him now. If you sign it, they'd love to.
Yeah, and apparently they were just in negotiations last week. So we kind of touched on that. Let's see. JL says, friendly wager. I'd bet anything Lamar stays.
I hope.
WBY, what about
I hope you're right. I don't want to bet with you because I want you to be right, JL. Yeah, I want you to be right, man. Because look, he said he was going to win us a Super Bowl, Jimbo. How can he do that in another uniform?
He did. All right, I think this is our last super chat here. Ravens O's Nation says, personally, I know nobody wants to talk about this, but the fact that he has been hurt when we needed him the past 2 years turns me off giving me a lot of money. Giving him a lot of money, I think is the idea. Oh, it turns me off giving him. Okay, I got you. All right. So, yeah, I mean, I would agree. It's another part of the equation, right? Like if you miss the final 6 and the final 5 games of the season and the playoff game, and like he said, in high leverage moments, you're not even on the sideline. All that looks bad. It just looks bad. It doesn't help you. I don't think Lamar Jackson has done a single thing in all of his tactics to raise his value in this offseason. I don't think he's done a single thing that you can point to go, oh, that has helped him create more leverage or create more money, like increase his market. It just hasn't. It's just another reason why he needs an agent, somebody that's been doing it for a long time and can get it done for him. So, yeah, man, there's obviously a lot to get into. We're going to continue to get into it this week. Obviously, big news today, but ultimately, I don't think it's going to speed things up, Glenn. I think that we might see some other things come up, but legitimate things. I feel confident, just like you, that the best deal money-wise that he's gotten is from the Baltimore Ravens. Period. So that's it for us tonight, folks. We'll be back soon. Thank you all for showing out. Once again, great numbers tonight. We had over 300 most of the night. I haven't seen Nana Ray for a while, so I'm just going to shout out Nana Ray.
Nana.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Oh, by the way, Jimmy, quick question before we leave. How many Super Bowls do the Cincinnati Bengals have?
None.
0, right? Okay. Yeah. And how long have they been a franchise? Like if you had to guess, how many decades?
4 or 5.
And how many? Again, how many Super Bowls have they won?
None.
Okay, so that's 0 Super Bowls, right? From the Bengals.
Was there someone in the chat? Is that?
Yeah. You know we love having Bengals fans in here. I mean, what's crazy when you're a fan of like a shit organization. It's amazing the stuff, like bad organizations hang banners for division title. Like if you go to Cincinnati,
like
they
the
have
Clippers.
Yeah, they have banners up for when they won the North, because even that is a massive accomplishment. Like,
right.
They don't have well, we know they don't have Super Bowl banners because they suck and they've always stunk. But what's incredible is the fact that they will literally hang an AFC North. Like, it's hilarious, because when you have such a lack of success over years, you can't just have no banners. So you'll just lower the bar so you can have a banner. So I think I went there one year. They had a banner up, said over 500 season in 2004. Like, it got to the point where they literally would hang banners because they got over 500. So I just wanted to put that out there, that the Bengals still have 0 Super Bowl wins, and they hang banners for positive years, win-loss wise. So
look what y'all did, Glenn. Look what y'all did.
It could be worse. It could always be worse. We could beat the damn Bengals.
1968.
1968. And the Ravens have way more championships and have been here since 96. So 30 years later, and they have more. Quickly, I got to get these in here. Chris Blake says they didn't replace Orlando Brown Jr. or Marshall Yanda. His left guard is always hurt. Okay, well, let me just debunk this nonsense.
His left tackle is always hurt. He corrected himself.
Okay. Well, his left tackle played last year, was far better than Orlando. Orlando Brown was so good that his team let him walk for nothing, and he signed an okay deal, but not that good. Marshall Yanda was replaced by Kevin Zeitler. I mean, how much better could they have done to replace Marshall Yanda? You think there's just another right guard out there who's a Hall of Famer? Yeah. They got a guaranteed, a guy who never misses snaps, plays at a Pro Bowl level, and has played in the North. That's a pretty damn good replacement. So
for cheap.
That's cheap. Sorry, Chris, but
this is the most important super chat of the night. Cakes Mitchell says Jimbo for bridge quarterback. Ain't no way I'm completing a single pass in the NFL.
Dude, but you got some scrambling ability. You got some.
You know what? You have. I got to get out in the pocket. I'd have to get outside. They had to roll me out, Glenn, because I can't see I can't see over those dudes. Are you kidding me?
No, you better get them passing lanes, bro. You better find them passing lanes.
Look, I think that I could catch a pass. I think I could catch one pass.
Oh, for sure. But as soon as you turn around and you get, you just get your head ripped off.
Oh gosh, it would be scary. But yeah, please. We'll Cakes. We're hoping that Lamar's here. But there you go. Sean Pisker says James jet sweep. I'll take that. Then I can see everything that's in front of me.
There you go. There you go. I can see you making some noise. I get you. You get about 3.5 yards on a jet sweep.
Oh, 3.5?
Dude, 3.5, bro. That's not bad. You see the athleticism at D end and outside linebacker nowadays?
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, by the way, speaking of that, because he said he'd buy your jersey, I have a jersey up for sale. If anybody wants the Big Crybabies.
Who said they'd buy it?
Look, the Big Crybabies jersey's here. You know, if anybody wants it, I'm selling it for real cheap.
That's right. Well, appreciate that Baltimore get up. When we get to Super Bowls, we actually win them. Shout out. That is all for us tonight. I'm gonna go upstairs and enjoy some cookies with my wife, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
See you.